What is it that you want to achieve in 2025, but don't just yet exactly know how you want to get there? Hi, my name is Fela Rosa and welcome to the Corporate Warriors podcast. Today is all about identity shifts and who you need to become in order to achieve your career objectives in 2025. So the moment I'm recording this podcast is the end of 2024 and the end of the year. This is always a season that we're all looking forward to. And very, very often, many of us take some PTO or at least have some free days until the new year starts. And what I want to make this about is to help you guys use this time not to escape from a corporate environment this doesn't fit you, from a workplace that you might have outgrown already, but to help you use this time to actually transform so that 2025 you get what you deserve. And I think this is the biggest mistake all of us are doing. We're using our PTO days, and I know they're very limited, but we do use them and the weekends to escape from what we don't want, which is why many people of us have the Sunday scaries as well. But I think it's complete opposite what we need to do. Instead of escaping, instead of going out for drinks so that we don't have to think about what's going on, in order that we forget about all the pressure that is so heavy on our shoulders, we try to use this time now and use it in a way so that we can make our lives easier, more successful, and more joyous again. What do you think? If you're up for it, then you're exactly at the right place. I want to challenge you to pick one night, mark one night down in your calendar, one night where you have 3 hours for yourself, concentrated, where you will create a plan for next year. And I'm going to be there all the way with you. In order to make this night the most important night of the year, listen to this podcast and already start doing your work by answering a few of the questions that I'm going to ask you here. And in addition to that, go to my website and watch the webinar recording, Conquer 2025. There you get an exact step-by-step plan for free with a very good workbook in addition, so that you can figure out what it actually is that you want. What is holding you back from having it right now already? Because if it were that easy, be honest with yourself, you would already have it. So what is holding you back from that? And then you're going to dissolve what is holding you back and step into this new identity. I'm going to give a little bit more insights here in the podcast, but in order to do it in this one evening that you're going to mark and block out for yourself, you have to do the webinar and you'll be set up for true success. In this short outline, I want to ask you, what is it that you do not longer tolerate in 2025? And it's a very important question, because you will get what you tolerate in your career. And this is only about you. Don't think about the market. Don't think about what other people say. If it's hard to get a job, if it's hard to get a promotion, I don't care. What do you tolerate? Because there are people out there that even during economic crises are making more money than ever before. And why are you not part of those kinds of people? So what is it that you will no longer tolerate in 2025? What is your bare minimum? What are non-negotiables? And then also think about the opposite. What is it that actually you liked in 2024 and what you want to make more or do more of in 2025, okay? With those 3 questions, you already have the perfect framework to make sure that in 2025, you're going to use your time in your career more strategically. Because let me remind you, 80% of your time throughout the entire week, if you have a full-time job, you spend at work. And if you add to that the commute, and in addition, if you add to that the hours that you think about work while you're off work, it can add up to 90%. And if you're in a bad situation, even 95% of your whole time. And this is your time here on this earth. This is literally the currency of your life. And if you use that unstrategically, that is probably the biggest mistake that you can do. All right, so let's move on. Then, and we do that way more in detail in the webinar, we need to make sure that your career vision actually fits into your life vision. We cannot do that completely separately, because you might create yourself a career that you're really happy and lucky about, which is a good thing. But then if you're unhappy in your life overall because you don't have any time anymore to spend with your family or with your partner, or even have time to go for vacation and recharge your batteries, then this is not a long-term successful thing. So I don't want you to only be happy and proud at the end of 2025, but also at 2030, 2040, etc. Okay, so this is really important. So we need to put your career vision into a life vision that you have for yourself. And what is it that you also do not longer tolerate in your life, right? Also be aware of that, because the moment you'll become aware, you can actually make a change. So this is hyper important. Once you write down what you don't longer tolerate, I want you to be hyper specific. And this is really, really important. Be hyper specific. For instance, don't just say, I don't like my job. I don't want to work at my job anymore. Be specific. Say, I don't like working as an assistant when I actually have a degree in science. Okay? Don't say, I don't want a toxic boss anymore. Say, I don't want to work for a narcissist that keeps on doing this, that is constantly doing that. Okay, be very specific. I would even challenge you, if words come up to your mind like micromanaging, don't just say, I don't want a micromanager. In this case, I want you to write down exactly what you do not longer want in terms of being managed, managing others, or managing yourself. Okay, be very, very specific. Don't just write out blunt keywords. Like everybody says, I don't want to work in a toxic environment. Everybody says, I don't want to be micromanaged. But what is it really that you do not like about it? And what is it specifically that your boss is doing right now that you don't want to longer tolerate? And in addition, the being specific helps you so much when finding a new workplace. So let's just say you're just done with where you're working at right now, and that's totally fine. You're aware of what's going on, what you don't like, you're really aware of the specifics. And now once you go out into job interviews, you can really use that in order to create your own set of red flags. Those are the things that you will not tolerate. And you can either just see them directly and get really good at recognizing it when somebody is putting out their potential red flag. And if it's not that clear, you can prepare very specific questions to actually ask for that. And I don't want you to go out there and be like, hey, are you a micromanager? Obviously, don't do that. But what you could do is say, in my past, this is how I've been working. I like to work independently for 1 or 2 days, but I guarantee my managers always that after latest 48 hours, when I receive the new assignment, they will get a heads up. They will receive a very short email where I'm at, an update, so I keep them in the loop. So be specific about what you want, what you don't want, and then use it for yourself. You use it to be aware at your current workplace, use it to actually even work it out with your current workplace. And if you need to change environments, then also use it there. Okay. Then the next step in the webinar is that we go to your life's vision. And this is really important. And here, before even doing the webinar, I want to invite you to just start dreaming a little again. Okay. Just start dreaming. Use this Christmas time to also dream for yourself what it is that you actually would like. What is the perfect life? If you imagine it right now, how would it look like? And also, again, be specific. Okay. If you want to say, I want to have a partner, that's great. But I guarantee you, you can have a partner the next minute if you want to. The question is, what kind of partner do you want? Okay. So also here, just really try to be specific. It's really, really important because, and then this is where the magic happens. We're in the next step of the identity work. And also in the partner situation, if you want a partner that has certain characteristics, this person very potentially also has or will have some, let's say, prerequisites, what they think their partner should have. So you have to become a match to your goal. It doesn't matter if it's in your career or in your private life. So this is where we step into the identity work. And if you have never heard of identity work, it's basically what all the big coaches out there are doing. It doesn't matter if you're talking about Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, you could list any of them really, because any coaching, any personal development in the end is identity work. You will always have to ask yourself, what next version of myself do I need to become in order to reach that objective? Because we are very, very often with our current behaviors, thoughts, and emotions, we are very often very close to our current, let's say, higher limit, upper end. And it doesn't mean we cannot break that. It's exactly the opposite. It just means that we need to become aware of what brought us here and then be really critical and ask ourselves, is what brought me here the same thing that will bring me to my next career and life objective? And the identity loop that we're using in this webinar for it works as follows. It all starts with the belief. And the belief is a belief system that you have. It's the I am statements that we use so much and affirmations as well. It's the what do you really believe about yourself? And this is also the tricky one, which is why many people want to have a one-on-one coaching, because we are very blind for our own limitations. That's just the way it is. We work our ways around it and we don't even see them anymore. Okay. So I don't even want my clients or in the webinar, anybody to start with the I am statement, but this is just for your reference, how everything starts and ends with. And then based on what you think, who you are, your thoughts are different. So somebody who is thinking they're not good enough, for instance, might be very quickly challenged by any kind of situation or question. So if I ask a tough question to a person that already thinks they're not good enough, their thoughts might be, oh, she's attacking me. So then your thoughts, they create certain emotions. Your emotions will have a huge impact on the decisions that you make. And then your decisions will obviously create certain experiences. And based on that, always your original belief will be reaffirmed. And this is why it's a loop. Okay, so what brought you here is what you could do with your current belief system. And we need to figure out how you can upgrade your belief system, what you believe about yourself and the world. And with that, how you react to what's happening, what your inner dialogues are all about, what your emotions are about, and how you decide when your opportunities cross your way, and therefore the experiences that you're about to make. Okay, so this is the crucial part. And this is where I want you to spend most of the time within those 3 hours that you block for yourself. I think the nice thing is here in this podcast and my work, it's all about staying true to who you really are. And you can be, hey, Fela, but if I become another version, am I not just playing a role? And I want to stop you right there. I acknowledge the thought because there's definitely something that everybody thinks about at one stage or another of the journey. But I want to challenge you to think, do you think that the current version of you is like the best version that you can be? Don't you think that there's more potential in you that just is waiting to be used, waiting to be seen, waiting to be acknowledged? And this potential right now, it's trapped inside of you. So the personal development that you're doing is actually basically taking off one of the layers and getting closer to who you really are. Because I truly believe that all of you listening right now, there's so much more to you than your current life situation. But it needs that taking off the layers to go to the core, to go back to the core of who you truly are, and thereby really seeing all the different facets to your personality, discovering new personality traits, understanding perhaps that in the past you were a very quiet person, but not necessarily because you're an introvert, perhaps because you thought speaking up is dangerous. And if you work then in this case on that specific fear or belief, a belief might be I'm not important, so why should it matter what you have to say? If you work on that belief, you come one step closer to yourself. You will perhaps find out that speaking up and talking and saying what you mean is actually very helpful. You create better relationships from that. You feel very proud of yourself, and you will actually feel more in tune with yourself because you were holding back so long until now. So by doing that, on the outside, it might look like this person has completely changed. But in reality, you've just become more who you truly are again, and were secure and proud enough to actually show that on the outside as well, and thereby reaping all the good things like the better salaries, the better career, the nicer life as well, because you'll feel more satisfied, more centered, more proud of yourself, and your whole energy will shift. So that way you'll upgrade your identity in a certain way, but you will really just become more and more who you were meant to be in the first place. If that is something that could be of interest to you, and believe me, it's of interest to everybody, the question is, do you dare to actually do it? Do you dare to find out what more it is that you could achieve, what it is, who it is that you could actually become in this lifetime? And if so, then check below, there's the link to the webinar recording. You go to my website, I send it to you via email. And just take those 3 hours and do that so important work. And last thing, if you think, well, I already did that, I know how it works. we can do that over and over again, because each time we will figure out a new limiting belief, something holding us back, because it's each layer you will find out new struggles to overcome, so that you come even closer, and even closer to who you truly are, and to actually leveraging all those crazy good character traits of yours. And just a last thought, think of it like a video game, okay? In a video game, you go to level to level to level, right? And at every level, you got certain kind of an end boss. Consider that like a video game. Right now, you're at a current level. And if you do not work on yourself, AKA fighting this end boss, you will not go to the next one. And luckily, it's not one of the games where you go back to the start and you need to start from zero again, but you will always fall back to your current version, right? And the game is to get to the next level, the next level, the next level of who you can truly be. In that way, you'll discover how much more potential you have that you never would have dared to believe before this. I'm so glad that you're listening to this podcast. Please like and subscribe. I'm so looking forward to your feedback on a webinar. Please reach out to me via LinkedIn or email. And I'm looking forward to having you back in 2 weeks. Bye.